Let us heads Goldy here with an independent review of L.A.B Golf's Oz 1 putter. Here recently on the podcast, we interviewed Sam Hahn, founder and CEO of L.A.B Golf. Really good episode. Go check it out. But, through the course of the episode, I laid the groundwork that hey, I'm a bit of a cynic, right? I'm a good player myself. I float between a +1 and +2 handicap. While I have other deficiencies in my game, putting is one area where I have a lot of confidence and I've had a lot of success throughout my golfing career. So when the episode got done, Sam said, hey, I really want you to go through our online fitting process and I want you to do an independent review of L.A.B Golf. Because one of the things that came up in the interview was, L.A.B gets a lot of flack that, hey, it's all marketing, right? It's just you give an influencer a putter and then they do a cheeky video and then it's that. L.A.B contends, and Sam stated on the podcast that, yes, marketing, you can get into the market, but you can't be sustained. You can't grow. And now last year, L.A.B has become the third most sold putter in the United States. So I have some uniquisms in my putting setup. So I putt a little more upright. I'm actually a toe down putter. So I went through the fitting process. I was a few degrees up. I ended up being at 73 degrees. On the weight, I'm currently playing a Spider Tour. So we try to mirror something. Went with the steel black shaft because I play with steel shaft putter. It gives me a little bit of extra weight. And then here on the options, we went a little bit north of standard to have a slightly heavier profile than most L.A.B putters. So it's beautiful. It's obviously very pretty, but proof's in the pudding. We had to go give it a test run. So what I'm going to walk you through today, I received this putter on a Friday afternoon. Went out Saturday morning with my kid just to kind of get a feel and roll a few putts. And then Sunday morning, went out and did my full kind of 10-minute practice routine I do for warming up for putting. You'll see here, I'm not a big drills guy. I'm not a big training aid guy. What I like to do is I like to find a putt with some slope to where I can alternate between uphill, downhill, left to right, right to left, and at different distances, kind of working on those core 6, 12, 18, 30 footers. A couple things going through this, some tips right off the bat. It's really hard to say, hey, I'm reviewing L.A.B Golf because at this point, you could consider it a pro or a con. When you go through the fitting process, not all the heads are created equal. There's multiple options for shafts, and you're going to get fit into a length, into obviously a lie angle. That's what L.A.B is, lie angle balance. What they're trying to do is get you to a point where you're not having to manipulate the putter. I mentioned for me, I've always been a toe down putter. So immediately when I was first messing around with the putter, I had a tendency to want to put that toe down. However, but I was fit with that knowledge in mind to where my putter face now will lay flat on the ground with me not needing to do any manipulation. Some other things I immediately noticed, for me, I already have a more ball forward position naturally, just because how I putt a little bit more upright. But I could see where if you're more of a center or somehow center back putter, that you're going to be hitting a little bit with a descending blow. And you really need to, with the offset of how these center shafts work, that ball position for most people, start it with a ball or two forward of what you normally play. And I think you're going to get that kind of sweet spot a lot more consistently. It responded very well to an extremely soft putting grip. So no matter how you hold the putter, for me, I've always played my best with a very, very light grip. Another thing, like you can't manipulate these putters. They don't work. Like you can't go in and go toe up and toe down. It immediately feels clunky and you will not make center contact. So you have to trust your build out, even if you go with stock. But also, I don't think L.A.Bs are for everyone. I don't think it's a panacea. You gotta know how to read putts. You gotta have feel. Lag putting is king. If you're a blade putter or somebody with a heavy arc, you're probably gonna have a significant difficulty of transitioning into a L.A.B. Doesn't mean you can't, but you're gonna have technique changes because this does not respond to an arc. Again, we talked about in the podcast with Sam, there's a lot of instruction on putting. You've heard, you're releasing the toe, all these kind of things. That doesn't really apply to a L.A.B putter. But if you are struggling, and or if you are a putter naturally that really likes a straight back, straightforward look, it's a pretty legitimate option. You see this putting demo that I'm doing here. Look, guys, these are not cupcake putts. The uphillers are very grainy. So if you're in the Southeast, you know how Bermuda works into the grain. And then all these side slopes have significant break to them. Green's rolling at about an 11. I was kind of shocked at how well the performance was. And again, I am a good putter, but when you start seeing a 33% make rate outside of 15 feet, Go look at PGA Tour data. It's pretty insane. These are just my first impressions, and while they are positive, I mean, look, I got to play for a couple months. I got to see how this thing feels when I'm under pressure, on a slow green, on a fast green. But I'll just say this. I was a cynic. I was pretty much convinced I wasn't going to be making the swap. But after this first session with it, I'm definitely going to put it in play for this next month and kind of see where we're at. My last comment would be my time over the putt was cut at least in half. It really got you into a target oriented mindset, and there was not really a mechanical thought. So again, honeymoon period's a real thing. We'll see how it goes, and we'll update again probably at about the 3-month mark. So if you like golf independence, travel reviews, takes, equipment reviews, make sure you're following Please Let Us Golf and checking out pleaseletusgolf.com, the shop. It's one of our big ways of not only you get the script hats, you get the cool logo, you get our guy Sprout. It's one of the ways that helps us stay independent, so we appreciate your support. And as always, stay plugged. Peace.